bringing you competition between the finest bowlers in the world. It's a professional bowlers tour. This ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by Aurora, makers of Skittle Ball and Bottle Motoring. By Lincoln Mercury Division and the cars that make Mercury your password for action in the 70s. And by Palmolive Rapid Shave, Menthol Mint Juicy Lime, Morning Fresh Regular. Rapid Shave smells so good, you won't want to shave it off. From the Bolero Lanes in Wawautosa, a lovely suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, ABC Sports is proud to bring you the exciting final rounds of the $70,000 Miller High Life Open Championship. Another great tournament in the Professional Bowlers Association's 1970 tour. You're looking at the much sought-after Miller High Life trophy, and isn't it beautiful? Along with the trophy goes a check for $10,000 today to the winner of this championship. This is our seventh stop, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm Chris Schenkel, glad to be in Milwaukee and Wauwatosa again. Seems almost like my second home because I spent so much time here with the Miller folks over the years. And I know Billy Whaley, our expert commentator, feels the same way. Billy?
Chris, I really do. Miller people are beautiful. They've been wonderful to us, and every year we love to come here. The snows have been on the ground and rather wet outside. The lanes have been very dry inside. Most of the boys have been hooking it rather big this week, so you'll see them playing to the middle and the left side of the lane, except Ed Bourdase. He can go straight downhill, so it's going to be an interesting telecast today.
You suppose the beard has something to do with his...
Well, I don't know about that, Chris. He's just got the real shot today in the bowling game.
All right, Billy, let's meet the five tournament leaders who are competing today for the top prize of $10,000 in this $70,000 Miller High Life Open.
Thank you, Chris. There you see the man. I was waiting. You see him. We talked last week, the rookie. He's no longer a rookie. He got his baptism last week from Charlotte, North Carolina, George Pappas. Going against the man in number 4 position from Edmonds, Washington, Johnny Gunther. Now, the winner of that match will move up and bowl this man, the first man to bowl 300 on network television, Jack Biandalillo from Gilroy, California. The winner of that match will bowl, there you see him, Ed Bourdase, who has found the winning way from Fresno, California. And the winner of that match will then earn the right to move up and bowl the tournament leader from Houston, Texas, young Bobby Cooper.
So there they are, the finalists of the $70,000 Miller High Life Open Championship with Bobby Cooper in the top position, and he's the man to beat this afternoon. We'll be back for the start of the action, live and in color, on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
More pros bowl the Ebonite gyro ball than any other kind. They'll tell you why.
You know, this balance effect of the gyro really helps when it hits the pins.
As a lefty, I play that critical outside line. I need a ball I can trust, so I throw to gyro.
Scramp, I really had the juice on that ball. You see that gyro tear him up?
I get a solid feel with the gyro and consistent high scores.
It'd be difficult to improve on the gyro ball.
All of us who bowl for a living depend on that extra edge.
That's Ebonite's gyro ball, the ball built for the pros. Take your choice of 2 great gyros, the original Don Carter Gyro 1 or the new harder surface Gyro 2. Both the hard rubber, precisely balanced for greater scoring consistency. And for you girls, the gyros are available in lighter weights. Take a tip from the pros. Insist on the Don Carter Gyro. Get the Ebonite edge. Every frame, every game.
Live and in color from the Bolero Lanes. Once again, here's how the final rounds are set in today's competition. Johnny Gunther and George Pappas, our 4th and 5th ranked bowlers in the tournament thus far, will meet in the very first game as they're warming up now and shaking hands. The winner of this match will attempt to bowl his way past Jack Biandalillo in 3rd place, Ed Bourdase in 2nd place, and finally meet Bobby Cooper for the championship. And Billy, this is quite a story on rookie George Pappas of Charlotte, North Carolina. 2 weeks, he's on our live color telecast.
Right, Chris, and that's the reason I wanted our viewing audience to take a good look at this young man. He's the cockiest, the most brash young man to come in the bowling game in the last 10 years.
And I guess he has a right to be if he can stroke like that. And
You
strike.
can say it again. If you think you got it, go on out there and tell them about it. You might even scare them a little bit, see?
And, of course, here's a man, this is a solid veteran, Johnny Gunther, who represents the great Northwest of this country. Oh, he's rather colorful today in his attire. And unfortunately did not have a good hit, did he?
No, Chris, he's going to be sailing a little bit to the right. Try to delay it because the lanes are hooking quite a bit. They're very dry.
What do you mean by dry, Billy?
Well, Chris, they put a surface over there. It's called lane dressing. It's an oil which protects the lacquer. The less you use, the drier the surface is. And here they don't use too much. They like the ball to hook here at the Bolero.
All right. And the 34-year-old three-time PBA champion Johnny Gunther is marked with a spare. And if you saw the very opening stroke here on the Bolero lanes, his opposition, George Pappas, opened with a strike.
Those of you who do not have color, Chris spoke of Johnny Gunther being very colorful. He is in orange trousers with a blue, yellow, and orange striped shirt.
And Johnny Gunther now has a spare and a strike after 2 frames. And now stroking in the second frame of the very first head-to-head match is George Pappas, Charlotte, North Carolina, 22 years old, 5 feet 10, and doesn't quite weigh as much as Dick Weber. Ooh. He has come up with a beauty now, Billy Boy.
Chris, he's playing the very deep angle, the 4-7-9. Here you see it. He's got to try and hit this point right here, that 4-pin on the left-hand side, and slide it across into the 9.
Right. Didn't quite make it.
Well, he went for it very boldly, which is what we typically speak of this young man. When I say brash, I mean it. He knows what he can do. It's the human element that determines whether you do it or not, but you've got to have it in the heart.
And if you watched our live telecast from Overland Park, Kansas last week, you'll remember that George Pappas came in 4th, losing out to Jim Godman, who tossed a 276 at him. And following an open, and with a score of 26 through the second frame, Pappas strikes in the third. And now with a strike up in the second, let's watch Gunther in the third frame.
This young man has always done well at the Millers. No matter how bad he's going, he always seems to get charged up and do well here.
Billy, that slide by or just didn't come up?
Yes, it did, Chris, and we'll see it in slow motion here. There you see it, the ball sliding by the head pin. The reason for that is he's trying to delay the roll so that it doesn't hook early for him, and he didn't get enough lift and leaves the 2-pin.
All right, there it is. A spare in the third frame for Johnny Gunther, Seattle, Washington. This is our 7th stop on a tour of 13 cities across the country. 9th year of our ABC telecast. Next week it's Toledo, Ohio. Beautiful strike for Gunther in the 4th frame. He has a 14-pin lead on George Pappas. As the action will continue live and in color on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Lincoln Mercury presents The Grill Watchers. The Grill Watchers. The grill they're watching, the one on the Mercury Cyclone GT, with concealed headlights and Cyclone running lights. There's plenty to watch. Just don't miss everything else Cyclone GT's got going for it. Like that sporty hood scoop and 351 cubic inch V8. The foam-padded vinyl high-back buckets, and optional 4-speed Hurst shifter. It's all there. Behind the grill watchers are watching.
Grill watchers? What about us girls?
Ask your dealer about the special value Cyclone GT. Now priced for action. At the sign of the cat.
Here on ABC, live and in color, George Pappas. First game, head-to-head, $70,000 Miller High Life Open. 5 bowlers trying to get the $10,000 check. Trailing by 14 pins, a strike up.
Going a little too direct again, Chris.
Leaving the 610 on the right lane.
And they're going to have a little more trouble, Chris, with the right lane. While they're both hooking, the right lane finishes even more than the left lane.
There, you get a good shot of the 610. He'll do a cross lane shot.
Now with it hooking, he's got to send it out. Yes, he did.
Just great.
Got to send it way out, because if hooking sharply, the ball could come through and chop that 6 off the 10.
From time to time, earlier in the day, we asked these bowlers various questions, and we wanted to know about Pappas. 2 weeks in a row being on TV as a rookie. He's doing extremely well. And if he made any changes between last week and this week, here's what he said.
I switched from a softer shell ball to a harder shell ball this week to enable me to, throw the ball straighter through the heads. And it seemed to work very well. Last week the ball hooked too soon for me on various occasions, but this week I've had a lot of success with the shot.
Chris, the 6, 7, 10, he's got to hook it right into here from that left corner. He's going to come over here and try to hit that 6 pin and slide it across into the 7. The ball will take the 10. Yes, he made it! Beautiful shot. Can I tell you that? Here you're going to see it in slow motion. Watch. Gives it the left or right angle. The ball barely touches the 6, sliding by, full on the 10. The 6 goes across and knocks out the 7. Excellent shot.
And now, with a little pressure on by Pappas, Johnny Gunther is on the approach with a strike up, stroking in the 5th frame. He's done it again.
Right, Chris. Worried about the right-hand lane, of course, trying to keep it from hooking too much. The opposite, the resultant action is you don't get enough. And there you see the 2, 4, 5. Left very difficult on a hooking lane. Could go through and chop and leave the 5.
All right.
Good cover, Chris.
That's 80 through the 4th with a spare in the 5th. Johnny Gunther, who has a 17-pin lead on George Pappas. And also on our live telecast today, you're going to see Jack Biandalillo, Ed Bourdase, and Bobby Cooper, the tournament leader. Oh, 2, 4, 5, 8 on the left lane for Gunther.
Even more difficult with the 8 pin in the back. Now he's got to hook it in to cover the 8, but make sure he doesn't put too much finish on. There you see it go through and chop the 5 again.
Beautiful coverage with a spare in the 6th, leading George Pappas by 13. And after the 6, 7, 10, this young man's adrenaline should be flowing sufficiently as he strokes in the 6th.
Certainly should be, Chris, and the adjustment here would be, if he doesn't swing this ball wide, I'm going to be very surprised. There you see, about 3 more boards of room, Chris, comes right in perfect.
Following our Professional Bowlers Tour telecast on ABC's Wide World of Sports today, it'll be the Fraser Ellis boxing bout for the World Heavyweight Championship Quite about 4 tremendously exciting rounds from the Garden. Split screen now here in Wawautosa.
Kristen, this is the big shot. Needs it for the double.
George Pappas, our number 5 bowler, going against the number 4 man, Johnny Gunther. And now with the double, trails by only 3 pens. We'll be back with the balance of the first match of the $70,000 Miller High Life Open Championship in just a moment.
The tantalizing fragrance of Palmolive Rapid Shave smells so good you won't want to shave it off.
Smells so good you won't want to shave it off. Rapid Shave, you won't want to shave it off.
Palmolive Rapid Shave in juicy lime, tingling menthol mint, and the fresh wake-up fragrance of regular.
Shave it off. Smells so good you won't want to shave it off.
For 10 years, model motoring by Aurora has been as close to real racing as you can get. Except for one thing, headlights. The new day and night racing set by Aurora.
The Bellaro Lanes, Wawautosa.
There you see Johnny Gunther taking tape out of the thumb hole. He's having a little problem. His thumb is swelling. And there we call that our freeze frame shot, so you can see what he has been doing while we have been away.
Billy, you're getting nice and technical here with your freeze framers. Well, that's sure a lonely sight, isn't it? A little old single pin down there, Billy.
Well, he improved a little bit. He gave that a little bit more direction, about 1.5 board more direction into the 1-3 pocket. But he's afraid of the ball hooking too sharply, so he's not giving it enough lift. The hit area was perfect, but the ball bounced when it hit.
The 5 pin, Johnny Gunther. Spare for Gunther in the 7th frame. Only 2 pins separating George Pappas and Gunther. The winner moves on. The man who finishes 5th here pull down a sizable check, and we'll have the day off. And we'll start heading for Toledo for another great championship.
Chris, a great break there. The previous frame got 6, finishing a little light again on the head pin. Chris, we can see this in slow motion again. The ball is not moving. There you see it. It's going to the right. It's sliding. It's not gripping the lane and moving from right to left.
Gunther's consistency now, marking with a spare in the 8th. And now Pappas with the double up, shooting in the 8th frame. Can go ahead if he can make it 3 in a row. On the left, Pappas.
Chris, good follow through again. Good carry. See, that follow through did it. From the deep left angle, going across into that 1-3 pocket. Without that good follow-through, he might have had the 8-10.
Instead of trailing, he now leads by 9 pins with that 3-bagger. Now in the 9th frame, George Pappas.
I'll tell you what, he may be small. When we talk about being cocky and brash, this young man here thinks he could go bear hunting with a switch. That's just how strong he feels. Tell you what, he's starting to close the door.
4 in a row, Pappas, and now Gunther. Pressure changing position now. 19-pin deficit for Gunther.
This is a must-strike for Johnny Gunther, Chris. He's not bowled well on the right lane. He needs one to finish out on his favorite lane of the 2, and he only has a possible 2-14.
leaving the 7-pin, and the reaction from the audience told you the story on Gunther.
The fortunate thing for Gunther was that Pappas had a slow start and that Gunther converted his spellers well. He still has a chance. He has a possible 203, would force Pappas to mark in the 10.
Three-time PBA champion, Johnny Gunther.
See, in the big story here, we have 3 young lions today who are not yet eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. One of them is George Pappas. Chris, the story is unfolding. Strike number 1 now sets him up for number 2. He's got to have this one. If he doesn't strike here, George Pappas is the winner.
All right.
Chris, he's alive.
And doing well.
Chris, now the count ball again. We so often mention this, but this is the value of getting the maximum number of pins on what the players call the fill ball. This is the last ball of the game, and they call it the fill. If he makes a strike, they call that the fill 10.
All right.
Got a great break, 202.
202 for Johnny Gunther. So here's George Pappas, and like most of you, he is aware that what he needs now is a mark.
Any kind of mark. Of course, a strike, that's the greatest mark you can get.
Here's Jack Biandalillo watching. He'll be the opponent for the winner of this game.
Chris, he went a little direct there. I was holding my breath, but he gave it a little overturn shot, and the ball stayed right there.
George Pappas, Charlotte, North Carolina, 22 years old, second straight week on our ABC live color telecast.
Tell you what, Chris, you see he made that 4-7-9 split, which you called it properly. That got the adrenaline flowing. On the bench, he concentrated properly and made the proper release on the right lane. He was too direct on his initial 2 shots there. Now he seems locked in angle-wise.
He has strung 6. Finishing with 7 in a row. And a 233, and the handshake from the loser, and there is the man that will next face George Pappas, Jack Biandalillo from Houston, Texas. 232 to 202. So Pappas moves a step closer to the championship. And in our next match, he will face Biandalillo. We'll see the start of the action in just a moment, live and in color on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
There's no telling what you'll run into on the highways these days. But this new Super Belt tire has Firestone's exclusive triple strength construction. Strong cores for extra long mileage. Strong sidewalls for extra long mileage. Strong bonding for extra long mileage. Super Belt, Firestone's new wide oval tire. Test after test shows it can give you up to 40,000 miles. If you're a sensible and law-abiding driver, even 50,000 miles and more. Get Super Belt for extra long mileage at Firestone, the mileage specialist.
The Fifth Dimension guest star on It Takes a Thief, Monday on ABC.
5, 4.
In our very first game, George Pappas, stringing 7, defeated Johnny Gunther 233 to 202. Now we welcome back to television following a 300 game and at the Firestone Tournament of Champions 67, Jack Biandalillo. Ooh, and has all sorts of problems with that first ball.
Chris, that's not the nicest way in the world to start the game. Little slow. Chris, here, the 4, 7, 9, and the 10. At this point, he's got to try and hook it to the left and hit this 4 pin on the left-hand side, slide it across into this. He went for it boldly.
He did. Jack Biandalillo with an open frame, count of 7 in the first frame. And now Pappas, who finished with 7 in a row, to record a 233 to 202 victory over Gunther.
Chris, an interesting sideline here. Before each match, each player is allowed 1 practice ball on each lane, just to get the stroke your way. George Pappas passed his practice shot on lane 20. I don't know whether he was trying to psych Jack Biandalillo or he just felt now he had the lane conquered and only wanted to work on the left lane.
A little gamesmanship, huh?
I would think that.
And Pappas has opened with a double. In the first game, he had 9 strikes, 7 in a row as he finished, and now he's opened with a double. Quickly takes a 23-pin lead over Jack Biandalillo. Pin for Biandalillo.
Much better stroke, Chris. Coming in again cold, the tendency is to be a little slow, a little careful on the first shot. That time he had an increased speed and a much better follow-through, and of course you saw a solid pocket hit.
And after an open frame, it's a spare in the second for Jack Biandalillo, whom earlier we asked what caused him to leave the Professional Bowlers Tour, and here's what he said.
Due to a circulation problem in my hands and legs, I had to quit bowling back in 1967. Since then, I've moved to Gilroy, California. I haven't had any trouble at all with swelling of the feet or the hands, and it's just a real pleasure to be able to bowl again and be back out here with the fellows.
And of course, it's a pleasure to have Jack back on our telecast. And he's having a lot of problems here against Pappas. And it's the second spare now for Biandalillo. And this man has 2 strikes working for him. Now shooting in the third.
Chris with the great lead. He's winging 11, going for 3 in a row in this game.
Four pin for Pappas. And of course, if he covers the 4, he'll still lead by 24 pins.
He's got that real tempo down now. Very well coordinated to the line, not too fast. There you see. Nice reach.
Last Monday night at Madison Square Garden, Joe Frazier and Jimmy Ellis met for the heavyweight championship of the world. You'll see that bout today on Wide World of Sports following this telecast, along with a 10-round heavyweight bout featuring the Olympic heavyweight champion George Foreman going against Gregorio Peralta, the 9th ranked heavyweight. That's on Wide World immediately following this telecast.
Chris, now that was just a great break. He reared a little at the line.
So it's Pappas with a 24-pin lead. We'll have more of this second match coming up on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Please, Daddy, promise not to smoke anymore.
Sound familiar? Here's the help you may need. Try Nicoban lozenges or new medicated gum. Every day, Nicoban is helping thousands break the cigarette habit. Let Nicoban help you cut down or stop smoking, often without gaining weight. Doctors have been recommending Nicoban for years. Is somebody you love asking you to break the cigarette habit? Why wait? Try Nicoban. Nicoban sure beats smoking.
There's something about an Aquavelva man. You're my kind of guy. I want you so. Baby, everything about you is go. With Aquavelva lotion, our romance began because there's something about an Aquavelva man.
Famous Ice Blue, Cool Frost Lime, Wild Redwood. Try all 3 ways to bring out the Aquavelva man in you.
This is Jack Biandalillo shooting in the 4th frame of the second game. Wow.
Chris, that's the problem. We talked about it at the top of the show. Here's that little dandy 4-9. That's caused by the ball finishing through too sharply, leaving this combination. He's got to hit it here on the left-hand side, make that 4-pin go into the 9. Good. No, not quite enough of it.
Wawautosa, Wisconsin, suburb of Milwaukee. Once again here for the Miller High Life Open. Next week, the Buckeye Open in Toledo. Then Depew, New York. And Madison Square Garden for the Don Carter Classic. Then New Orleans, Louisiana. And then the Firestone, Tournament of Champions. And it's a bucket for Biandalillo.
In between, we get over to Miami for the Lincoln Mercury Cougar Open, Chris.
We don't want to forget that trip. Might find a little warm temperature, huh?
Beautiful. And this is a beautifully tough spare here. He was very lucky. You see that ball hooking so soon. Now, Chris, right here, George Pappas with a 37-pin lead. He's in a pretty commanding position because he has the line, and Jack Biandalillo is still what we call fishing.
A 4-pin on the right lane for Pappas. The winner of this head-to-head game will go in a match with Ed Bourdase. The winner of that contest will then go into the finals against Bobby Cooper for the $10,000 winner's check.
Chris, Biandalillo is going to have to come on. I would not guess that Pappas is going to run into too much trouble now that he's got his line. And there you see Biandalillo. He's looking pretty worried. He's having a problem with the ball rolling way too soon.
Now Pappas. Powerful ball by a tiny bowler, Pappas. 22 years old. Here's 6-foot Jack Biandalillo, now making his home in Gilroy, California, 29 years old. Professional bowler for the past 10 years.
Chris, there's the other side of the coin, so to speak. He's delaying the shot to keep it from rolling too soon. Therefore, he doesn't get enough, a la Johnny Gunther.
Let's see slow motion of that last stroke.
Right. Here, at this point, everything is fine. Fundamentally, the deep knee bend, at that point, he's coming out open-handed, so the ball does not hook. What we mean by that, Chris, what causes the ball to go from right to left is the revolution put on the ball by the fingers coming out last. This causes a friction, that rubber rolling against that surface. When that ball grips that surface too soon, it's going to hook 10 or 15 feet too quickly.
You know, Billy, just the way you said that, I believe you.
I want to thank you, partner. Now there, he had more speed.
That's by far his best stroke. Even though he's trailing by 38 pins in this second head-to-head match here at Valero Lanes in Wawautosa. We'll be back with the balance of the game in just a moment.
Billy Hardwick. The man has won more professional tournaments in 1 year than any other bowler in history. In the first 3 games he ever bowled, Billy scored 79, 87, and 69. So he practiced a lot, day after day, night after night. Billy puts it this way: you've got to have real desire and dedication about anything you do if you're going to do it right. It's the same with Miller High Life. We've dedicated over 115 years to brewing the best beer there is. We brew it hearty, robust, deep down good. Miller makes it right.
Live and in color, let's watch the conclusion of the second head-to-head match here in Wawautosa, Wisconsin at the Miller High Life Open. This is George Pappas, who won the first game over Johnny Gunther, 233 to 202, now having a 38-pin lead on Jack Biandalillo. Here's Pappas, strike up, shooting in the 7th.
Good roll, Chris. Look at that 5-pin go out of there.
Increasing his lead now to 48 pins.
See, now we're Jack Biandalillo, not from the old school, but he came in the late era of the hook ball era, where the bowler used to really lift hard. George Pappas is going more over the top of the ball with his hand, and the thumb and fingers are coming out more at the same time. So his ball would not be revolving as many times as Jack Biandalillo.
Three in a row for George Pappas, who had 9 strikes in his first game. Here's Biandalillo, who finished 3rd. Let's look how the other 16 finished in this championship.
Chris, there in 16th place, one of the great champions in bowling, Bob Strampy from Detroit, getting his 1,000. A new young lion on the tour from California, Palmer Falgren. There you see in 14th place, another real young tiger, Allie Clark, getting a little 1,100 there. And, of course, the PBA's national champion, Mike McGrath, in lucky number 13. Alex Seymour from Kannapolis, North Carolina. In 11th place, the Firestone champion, Jim Godman. There you see Don Johnson. He makes the pay window almost every week, Chris. And then 9th, of course, now playing out of Tempe, Arizona, where he's in the bowling business, Wayne Zahn. And, of course, one of the great champions of all time and the leading money winner in 8th place, Dick Weber. Mike Lemongello, who bowled very well here 3 out of the last 4 years. In 7th place, getting 1,500. And in 6th place, the alternate on our telecast here today from nearby Hartford, Wisconsin, Dick Ritger.
And here's the man that finished 5th, defeated the number 4 bowler, Johnny Gunther, now going against the number 3 finisher, Biandalillo. He has 3 strikes in a row working for him.
Chris, when you've got a lot of money, you can afford to give it a lot away. Or when you've got a big lead, you can afford to give some pins away. He's not going to do that. He's going to try to make this pin. The ball slid by here. Now he's going to try to slide it again and hit that 5-pin right there on the right-hand side and slide it into the 7. He might make that, Chris. Oh, very close.
For Pappas, his first open frame, whereas his opponent has 3 opens, Biandalillo. Pappas looking at the overhead score sheets here at the Valero Lanes. Comfortable 56-pin lead. We're in Wawautosa today. Tomorrow we'll be in Baltimore at 1:55 Eastern Time. The Eastern Division leading New York Knickerbockers with Willis Reed, Bill Bradley, Walt Frazier, Cassie Russell will be in Baltimore to meet the Bullets, featuring Earl the Pearl Monroe, Wes Unseld, and exciting Gus Johnson. It's our NBA basketball game of the week tomorrow at 1:55 Eastern Time. They're coming in the 10th frame, and of course, Pappas is the winner of the game.
And Chris, a little interesting point here. He has not missed the pocket. Once he got located on the right lane, he has not been out of the pocket. That may be a sign of things to come.
And George Pappas, who just rolled another strike, gets the handshake from Biandalillo, and seated on the bench, waiting to go against Pappas, is Ed Bourdase.
Chris, there's another 4-9. Jack's he's one of the great showmen. Been a big reactor in the game. When he gets it going, he's moving around. And now, of course, that's the best he can do. He's a great, what you call a loser. Tough to be a good loser, but when you see a man can act it out like that. Hey, a little shot for the gallery.
Hey. Well, the old-timer comes through, and he's happy. His opponent, Pappas, with a 213.
Chris, it's tough to do. He was trying to regain his eligibility at Firestone. That's a real sad afternoon internally for Jack Biandalillo, but at least he can smile about it.
A 156. And the gracious loser, Biandalillo. So George Pappas now moves up to meet Ed Bourdase in the third round of the $70,000 Miller High Life Open Championship, live and in color. You're watching the Professional Bowlers Tour.
The minute you walked in the joint, I could see you were a man of distinction. Hey, big bender, spend a little time with me. Join the Muriel Mild crowd. Pick one up and smoke it sometime.
Now, dial at your self-discounts on long-distance calls out of state. Weekend discount rate, as little as 70 cents plus tax coast to coast. 70 cents all day Saturday and Sunday till 5 p.m.
George Pappas, who has won 2 games, 2 matches head-to-head here, the 233 to Gunther's 202, and then a 213 to Jack Biandalillo's 156, now goes against Ed Bourdase. Pappas shooting first. The 4-pin on the left lane.
An interesting point, Chris. The higher bowler in the standings has the right to determine which lane he will start on. Seeing how well George Pappas has been doing, Ed Bourdase elected to change his starting selection.
All right. Just squeezed that one out.
Really?
Spare for Pappas in the first frame. Now, first opportunity to look at another veteran, Ed Bourdase. Second time he's appeared on our Professional Bowlers Tour telecast this year.
Right, he won at Los Angeles, Chris. Actually, we were in Arcadia at the Bowling Square.
Powerful.
Now, he's come up with a shot where he can keep it in the track. He will be going straighter, what we call more up the track between the second and third arrow, because he's getting out of that ball and he's reversing his fingers back to the right and keeping any side revolution away from the shot.
Ed Bourdase, 9th ranked in the money-winning department, nearly $10,000 here in 1970. If he can beat Pappas and then Bobby Cooper, he'll get another 10 today.
Now, there you see. The hand way out to the right. And this is keeping that ball going straighter up the track.
A double for Bourdase. Now with a spare up, shooting in the second. Pappas. Following this telecast on Wide World of Sports, it'll be the Joe Frazier-Jimmy Ellis Heavyweight Championship bout. The 4-pin. Billy, you're quite a boxing fan. I recall a few bouts that we watched together way back.
At the old St. Nicholas Arena, Chris. We go back a few years, but that's how much of a boxing fan I am. And I did have the good fortune of seeing that fight Monday night. And Frazier really, he really did it to Ellis.
And all the fans can see it.
I hope they'll watch.
Right. Pair of spares now for Pappas. This is the semifinal game. The winner goes into the finals. And the victor in that head-to-head match will get $10,000. The man who loses, $6,000.
Now, Chris, he has been giving it a little more lift on the last two shots than the hand over the top of the ball. Same thing again, Chris, yes. 3 in a row.
He left the 9-pin on the left lane. The Miller High Life Open from Wawautosa.
And they've really been putting away the Millers this week. The bowlers have been doing a beautiful job. Chris, there you see the feet as he sets himself. Good timing.
All right. Ed Bourdase in heavenly pink, if you're watching in color.
Chris, we're going to come in tight here on Ed Bourdase, showing you how he sets himself in his stance. This is where he checks his hand position. Watch this. There you see it. Now make sure that he gets the ball positioned to the right side of his body. This is so when he puts it into motion, he will not hit the leg. There you see it.
A 3-bagger.
I'll tell you something, when you win, it makes a different kind of man out of you, and Ed Bourdase winning in Los Angeles could change his whole career, because he is attacking now, where he used to kind of play safe and fear what would happen. Now he's saying, man, I'm going. You got to catch me.
That's right. 5 weeks ago, after trying for 10 years, he won his first PBA championship.
Tell you what, he's putting it on Pappas pretty quick.
4 in a row. In this third game, Ed Bourdase bowling George Pappas. And, of course, a reminder that if someone does bowl a perfect 300 game, it'll be $10,000 from ABC Sports and from Lincoln Mercury Division, the Ford Motor Company, a Cougar.
Now he had a little more overturn, Chris. The ball stayed there a little longer or rode down the lane a little bit farther before it made its right to left move.
It's his first strike in his third match today. After 3 spares, now shooting in the 5th frame, trailing by 32.
There you see it, a little knee bend, positioning the ball again to his right.
A double. So now leading by only 22 pins is Ed Bourdase. 4 strikes and 4 frames for Mr. Bourdase. Shooting in the 5th now.
Very deliberate there, you see, as he sets himself. Now watch right here. A little deep breath. That's the relaxing thing, like in basketball, right before the free throw.
A 9-pin for Bourdase.
And he's a little bit surprised, yet he rolled that ball so well, it just broke through there so sharply. The ball in the back is cutting from right to left very quickly.
Ed Bourdase today in a very colorful pink shirt, and of course with a tiny beard. We kidded him earlier, asked him if that beard helped to bowl better, and this is the comment he made, Billy.
Well, I don't think it's the beard that's made the difference. I've changed my game in my hand position at the point of release at the foul line, and this has made the ball go through the head straighter with the better hook on the end rather than the early hook. So the beard has helped a little psychology, I guess, but the change in the game with my hand position, I think, is the big thing that's made the difference for me.
The man that used to listen to records before competition. He wanted that one, but left to 10.
Chris, he really wants to win now, and you can see it. Ed Bourdase, he had more action in gyrations after the shot. Now he's got it with it. Chris, watch this in slow motion. The low bend. Now here, he wants it. Watch him. And right now he's saying, gig on out of there, 10-pin.
Ed Bourdase leading by 20 pins as we'll return to the $70,000 Miller High Life Open Championship in just a moment.
When the makers of the Continental Mark III decided to make the most dramatically styled car in the medium price field, they made this one, Marquis. This is Marquis for 1970. Dramatic styling. Remarkably responsive performance. Luxurious appointments. Spaciousness. From the makers of the Lincoln Continental and the Continental Mark III, Marquis 1970 at your Lincoln Mercury dealers.
And as we return to the Miller High Life Open Championship, here is a big ball for George Pappas in the 6th frame with a double up, trailing by 20 pins, meeting Ed Bourdase with the winner to go into the finals against Bobby Cooper.
Right, Chris. If he can strike here, he will cut the margin to 10, and you'll see it on the split screen. The action, the release. It's 10 pins now, Chris.
This is the number 5 bowler. 2 victories in his first 2 games, 16 strikes, 446 total, and that averages out to about 223. And here in this 3rd game, he opened with 3 spares. Now he has 3 strikes in a row. If he can strike here, the match will be even.
I think it is, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Out in the Midwest, they call this a barn burner. And I'll tell you what, we've got 3 frames to bowl. The match is all even. Both of them have the pocket line. So now it's a test of time.
The loser gets $3,000. The winner goes into the finals and can win either $10,000 or $6,000.
Oh, tough break.
Let's see that again and slow it up.
Yes, Chris, excellently delivered. Now watch, there's a lot of power on this ball as it goes into the 1-3. Now watch, the 3 hits the 6, and watch where the 6 goes. It's in flight around the 10. That's a little too much power in the shot. We're bowling against a plastic pin nowadays, so you just can't have too much power.
Marking with a spare, Bourdase in the 7th frame, 147 through the 6th. And as a result, for the first time in this match, Bourdase is down 1 pin.
Chris, he really wants to win today or finish 2nd. He promised his daughter, Jody, if he finished 1st or 2nd, he's going to send her to school and dig this in Switzerland. So naturally, the family's pulling for Ed. Chris, we had this shot earlier. We'd like to show it again. Took a little power off that time. The ball went sliding by. Now he wants to do it again because he wants to hit that 5 right there and send it over into the 7.
And for Bourdase, his first open frame in this semifinal match after opening with 4 strikes. The action will continue in just a moment as the best bowlers in the world compete for their share of the prize money here at the $70,000 Miller High Life Open Championship in Bolero Lanes in Wawautosa, Wisconsin. But first, this message.
This is PBA World Champion bowler Dick Weber showing his son how to make the difficult 1-2-4-8 spare.
Now watch this.
Well, that shows you how similar Aurora's scooter bowl is to real bowling.
Hitting the pocket is very essential, as well as picking up those spares. And like real bowling, you just can't get away from those splits. Score's the same, too. See how close you can come to that 1-2-4-8.
Skittle Bowl by Aurora. It's like having a bowling alley in your living room. The tantalizing fragrance of Palmolive Rapid Shave smells so good you won't want to shave it off.
Smells so good, you won't want to shave it off. Rapid Shave, you won't want to shave it off.
Palmolive Rapid Shave in juicy lime, tingling menthol mint, and the fresh wake-up fragrance of regular.
Shave it off, smells so good, you won't want to shave it off. Smells so good.
Californian Ed Bourdase has lost the lead to North Carolinian George Pappas. Pappas leading by 15 with a 4-bagger, shooting now in the 8th frame.
He's exuding a great amount of confidence, and it's just a great tribute to this young man. You know, last week, Kansas City, the Ebonite Open was his first appearance on network television, and of course, you remember Jim Godman gave him the great baptism of 9 in a row. This man has gained so much stature in 1 week's time. That shows you what just a little experience will do if you've got the talent to go along with it.
5 in a row, 9th frame.
Chris, pretty much the same shot. The crowd realizes it. No trouble there with the 4-pin. The count's a big thing because he has 4 pins variance in count. Ed Bourdase having the split. He's rolling along at a 237 pace. Ed Bourdase at a 213 pace. So Ed Bourdase could put the pressure on right here. He has a possible 233.
Bourdase now down, trying to recover from an open 8th frame. Beautiful strike, Bourdase in the 9th.
That was right in between. The solid 10 in the 7th frame, a little too much power. He took a little bit off and skidded the ball a little too far and left the 5-7 in the 8th. Right there was in between. And now this is the key ball, Chris. You can strike out here and put the real pressure on George Pappas.
Shooting on the left lane. Pressure.
Chris, in Los Angeles, his first victory. He made 3 strikes in the 10th frame to put the pressure on Johnny Petraglia. Johnny did not come through with 3 strikes that day. If he makes 3 strikes here, George Pappas doesn't need 3 strikes, but he only has 4 pins to play with if Ed Bourdase strikes out. Chris, Ed pretty well knew that one. He wanted to make doubly sure that he reached out or got the good follow-through that would ensure direction. In reaching out too far, he didn't get enough lift to bring the ball back into the 1-3 pocket. Now, he has scored 221, Chris. George Pappas cannot afford a foul or hitting his ankle or something of that nature. He can afford an open if he counts well, but if he counts bad, like a 5, heaven forbid, he can't afford that.
In the tournament, going into the finals, is now moved along, defeating Johnny Gunther, Jack Biandalillo, and now over powerful Ed Bourdase. Pappas goes to the finals against Bobby Cooper. And he toppled them all again. He'll be in the 240s. And speaking of in the 200 bracket, a couple of heavyweights, one at 205 and another at 201. You'll see that bout replayed on Wide World of Sports at 5 Eastern time today. Joe Frazier, Jimmy Ellis, an exciting bout for the championship of the world on Wide World of Sports. All right, leaving the 4-7, bowling a powerful 245 to go along with his 213 and 233, 245 to 221. So the story now, the $70,000 Miller High Life Open is almost history as we look at Bobby Cooper, the tournament leader who is now set to meet George Pappas, the challenger, at stake the championship and $10,000. We'll be back in a moment.